and welcome to the Physio in a Box podcast. I'm Richard and
I'm Vanessa.
And we're here chatting about physio matters again today, really. A bit of a change of plan today though, isn't it?
Yeah, today we've had to, fit in a child's activity, and so we're walking around some different woods. Today we just have Bentley with us, who's one of our dogs. We normally have Bumble as well, but we've been at a ploughing festival today, which was a new one for us.
Yeah.
Because one of our children was playing in a band and Bumble is a bit tired. Bumble's not big on walking, is he?
No, he's not the best physio dog, really, is he?
He's not. Everyone says terriers are crazy. Bumble's happy for a little bit, but then he's like, actually, can you just carry me?
He's a bit chilled, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
So Bentley's quite enjoying some time away, I think, at the moment. So if you haven't listened to us before, we're two chartered physiotherapists, and we tend to try and do a podcast every week on things that we found pertinent in the clinic this week. And it's aimed at patients, really, either our patients we see in the clinic or people looking for a bit of extra information, just talking through different injury issues or and things that we found or messages that our patients have found useful and given us feedback on. So today was one of those things. We're going to talk about low back pain, aren't we?
Yes, we are. Yeah. Because it's one of the things we'll talk about, but actually it probably takes up a significant amount of our physiotherapy time.
And the truth is, this podcast is probably going to last about 15 minutes, and that's far too short a period of time to talk about back pain in any length or depth. It's bigger than that, isn't it?
Much bigger than that, yeah.
So we just thought we'd go through a few things which just to tell you about your back, really, and tell you about what can be a source of pain and how actually very often there's no clear source of back pain, and hence it gets described as non-specific low back pain, which basically means you can't determine any specific structure which is causing the pain.
And I think that's really hard for people, isn't it? Because, if you're like me, I've had an issue recently because I lifted something. I want to know why. I want to know why I'm in pain, because then if I can fix that, I'm no longer in pain. And it's really hard if someone goes, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, well, and it's very hard to localise it to any one structure, but the truth is most back pain is going to go within a 2-week period. We know that because there's lots of research that shows that most back pain goes away quite quickly, really.
But it does affect an awful lot of people. I mean, through your lifetime, they say 80% of adults will experience an episode of low back pain.
I mean, a quarter of all adults will lose time from work because of back pain as well.
Yeah, it's the most common reason for someone to be off work is back pain.
Yeah, but also one of the common causes of back pain is work.
Is work.
Because as most of us these days probably sit down at work. I mean, we're quite lucky, really, because we stand up all the time.
Can I say it?
Go on.
Okay, so my little quirk.
Ness loves little sayings.
She does little sayings, and I like to make them up as well. So I'm really sorry if it's stupid, but I do love science and biology, and we've spent thousands of years evolving into Homo erectus and our body coping, and we've spent about 50 becoming Homo situs, and our body's not coping with that. It has not adapted to that. Yay!
Thank you for that, Darwin.
Yeah.
But it's true, isn't it? So, like we said in previous podcasts, how good our body is at adapting to new environments. And let's face it, that's how we end up getting fitter, because if you progressively expose your body to increasing load and increasing demands, your body will reward you by getting increasingly stronger, more flexible and fitter, and it's just an adaptation to a new environment. If the environment you put your body in is sitting down, you're going to get really good at sitting down, and your body's going to adapt to that. Problems are then that when you come to move, you're not going to be the most efficient.
No, and most people that we come into contact with don't just want to sit all day. They sit as a necessity as we get older. Illness might cause it, but also your job. If you're promoted, the great tendency within jobs is the higher up you go, the more you sit down. But then
people come to you a bit more, don't they?
Yeah, but then you get to the weekend or Friday night. Woo, careful! This is me not falling over. you get to the weekend or the evening and you're like, actually, I want to go for a run. Okay, we got to climb.
Yeah.
Climb and talk. Talk through.
It's not our usual route, so we're not really sure where all the styes can be.
So you want to do your own thing, don't you? Five-a-side football, running, tennis, hockey, or just going out and playing with the kids. And your body has done pretty much, next to nothing.
Yeah. So, and as a result of that sort of sitting down, I mean, I think we're sort of dwelling on the sort of the ergonomic side of things, really, is very often I find that people stiffen up above and below their lower back. So either in their hips and pelvis or in their thoracic spine, and therefore when they move, they have to compensate by using their back more, and very often it's getting the bits either side of their lower back moving more, either through stretching or strengthening exercises, just to free up those hips, free up that thoracic spine. I mean, we'll put some videos on that we found quite useful from this perspective on the Physio in the Box community pages when we get them up and running. Mind you, we are in the process of getting those up and running, because the idea is that this podcast is obviously going to go on a weekly basis, and we'll just supplement it on the Physio in the Box community pages with extra videos, extra information, for subscribers to the community pages, really. But so we tend to sort of focus on the areas either side of the lower back, to get that moving more.
But the problem, going back to, well, why is that so much of a problem? Because there are structures within your spine, there are receptors, there are nerve endings, and if they are loaded in a way that is not good for them or is not normal for them, that's when you start to get pain. Now, I know the first thing you might do with pain, and I am exactly the same, is ask Dr. Google. And Dr. Google can turn me into a junior doctor within 5 clicks. But
You're also 2 clicks from a bowler with it.
Yeah.
It's Google, I think you can keep on going. All of a sudden, you either got cancer or you bowler.
Yes. So it is important to have a look, as to the structures. Why are you in pain? Why are you in pain? Why do people come? When they come and see us, we're looking at the anatomical changes, as Rich said, and that starts to kick off pain receptors into the brain, and then your body's telling you, I'm in pain. And as we said at the beginning,
there's quite a few different things that feed into your pain, though, isn't it? It's like any injury. All injuries have different components, don't they? And people are a bit like a Venn diagram, really. It's not just a physical damage component. There's always an environmental one, whether a work environment or a sporting environment or a home environment. There's normally some sort of psychological perspective to that. And I'm not saying that all your pain is in your head. That's not what I'm saying. But there's a psychological effect of pain. For instance, I got a bit of a dicky knee at the moment. My knee's giving me some jip, and it gets me down because I can't do what I want to do in the way. And you start sort of wondering, is that the beginning of the end? Is that because I'm 44 now and I'm going to be that guy who can't run anymore because he's got a dodgy knee? So that's what I meant by the psychological effects of that.
All pain is real. Okay, pain is something interpreted in your brain, and is all real. The thing about going to see a healthcare professional with it is finding out, is the stimulus one that needs intervention? So a lot of people, the moment they get back pain, they need an MRI. And then they're like, why won't the doctor give me an MRI? And why won't the doctor give them an MRI, Richard?
Well, like we said, if it's early doors, then your pain is probably going to go away on its own anyway. So, and secondly, MRI is really used. Well, when I saw a doctor the other day, he explained it to me that it's used to either rule in and rule out surgery, or to plan surgery. And if you think of it in those terms, then you think, well, if you have an MRI, what's it going to tell you? The problem, one of the problems with MRI as well, is that it'll show an awful lot of false positives. There's been quite a few studies in different body parts which has looked in an asymptomatic group, people without any pain, and they've MRI'd them just to see what shows up. And they did this in lower back pain patients, and and it showed a whole host of things which you could hang your hat on, which said that would give that person pain. And in some cases, you may even thought about a surgical option for those people. But this was in a group of people without pain. So what the study concluded was that, well, a lot of these problems which are shown up on MRI can be naturally occurring in a pain-free population. So it doesn't necessarily mean that just because you've got a problem on MRI that equals pain. And there's no correlation between pain and what's seen on an MRI or an X-ray. So that's why doctors tend to be a bit cautious with that, and probably rightly so, because as soon as you know something is wrong with, is in inverted commas now, wrong with you, well, because an MRI has told you, it's very difficult to unthink that and forget that, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it can have quite a big effect on people thinking they've got a long-term back pain, whereas the truth is, most back pain will go away in 2 weeks. Some people will have it for up to 6 weeks, and very few people will have it longer than that. Back pain does go wrong, though, doesn't it? I mean, there are some problems which you have got to be careful with, and
yeah, so when you go see a healthcare professional, anyone who's trained will go through a proper assessment, and one of the things that is high up before they even touch you and before they even examine you is looking at the red flags. So red flags are like immediate stop, do not pass, go. And the main ones, if you've got any bladder or bowel problems, if you have not feeling like you're a little bit constipated, but if you've had any loss of control, so you've realised that your underwear is wet, or you've had a loss of bowel control.
Well, constipation is one.
No, little bit of constipation. I mean, yeah, no, if you can't go to the toilet, constipation definitely is. But just if you suffer with your stomach, we're not talking about that. It's a little bit different to that. And then numbness, particularly around the pelvic region. Oh, we're climbing under a tree now. Numbness around the pelvic region.
Yeah.
And any loss of sensation down your legs. And then when you're seeing a healthcare professional, we'll do some specific tests on your nerves, seeing how reflexes work. And we do have situations.
Just to clarify, the numbness, that's got to be around your genital area, though, isn't it?
Yes.
And blokes, if you've got a erectile dysfunction, that's a bit of a problem as well, especially if these are things all have come on alongside your low back pain.
Yes. So those are the red flags that we're talking about. So when you talk to someone and they're like, oh, you're fine, and you're there going, I'm not fine, I'm in pain. What they shouldn't say you're fine. What they're saying is, okay, this isn't do not pass, go straight to A&E. So then you can move on to like trying to assess what it is that isn't working.
So before we go on, just to clarify, if you've got low back pain and you've got any sort of urinary incontinence, erectile dysfunction, so significant constipation, or numbness around your genital area, then you do need to seek medical attention.
Yes.
In the absence of those, you probably fall into the non-specific group, which 99% of people do, and then we'll progress with the assessment.
Yes. Yeah. And then we will look at what's not moving, what is moving, and trying to get it sorted. I know, we spent a lot of time explaining the various things. You'll have people saying about sciatica, absolutely, but sciatica is an umbrella term for an irritation of a sciatic nerve. It's not a diagnosis as to what's going on. It just means the nerve's not happy. So there's an awful lot to do. As we said, you can't, these are just our opinions.
Initial thoughts, really, because we're going to have to probably do a couple of podcasts on lower back pain. I think the key messages for this, though, is that most of the time it gets better on its own without any further intervention, certainly within 2 weeks. But if you do have any of the red flag symptoms we spoke about, you do need to seek medical attention. That is an absolute. And yeah, and very often that can be your family doctor, it could be a physiotherapist, but you're probably going to need that, pretty quickly. That's an emergency referral situation. But then, if it's not clearing up on its own and you can't sort of manage it yourself, see a physiotherapist or another healthcare professional, just to get yourself looked at, because it could do some simple things in terms of getting hips moving, thoracic spine moving, looking how you move. doing some pain relieving modalities, and it will settle down properly within a 6-week period.
But going back, if we loop it all the way back to the beginning, the whole point of what Rich and I are doing with the Physio in the Box, with our new little quote of an inch of prevention is better than a pound of cure.
An ounce of prevention.
Sorry, so you're getting old.
Different measurement groups there.
An ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. We've got to counteract this life that we're living, where all these muscles that should be helping us, and we're just not using them, and we're just sitting on them. So if you have a look on the community side, there's even a stunningly interesting video on how to sit at a computer, which might sound really boring, but it can make a massive difference to shoulder pain and back pain if you do that.
Yeah, and from a prevention perspective, you were sitting there thinking, well, I haven't had back pain, but obviously you've got a good chance of getting it at some point in your life.
Yeah.
Mitigating against the effects of sitting down for a living is key. Getting yourself moving, getting the bits that are stiff moving again is key. And hopefully on the community side we'll have some sort of ideas and videos to show you how to do that.
Yeah, and there is, if you have any questions regarding it, or do you know what, as we always say, this is us putting across what we think you want to know. If it doesn't make sense, then let us know.
Yeah, please get in touch and give us any sort of subject matter you want us to cover, or any questions you want us to answer. We're more than happy to do that, and we want this to be driven by you, really. The idea being it's a community of people asking questions. We'll try and answer it the best we can, or if there's anyone else that we can get in to answer these questions better, then we will endeavour to do so. So please get in touch. And I think that's about it for now then, because I think we've spoken about this for a bit too long. So I'll say goodbye, and
goodbye.
Yeah, see you next week. Bye.